Oh, we are live on Channel 4. Please do not swear. It's me and the JD Ray Reads. It feels like forever since we've done this. It's only been
does.
actually it's been less than a month because it was October 3rd, the last
Yeah,
one, but it feels long. It
this
feels long, man.
has been the shortest break between them, but
Yeah.
it feels excessively long.
Like yeah, and I think
It's
that's
like just a
mainly
reflection of how the year's gone.
I was gonna say that I think it's definitely apt for the kind of month that we've had,
Yeah.
but just the year in general as well, I guess. I mean, even September wasn't amazing either. So it's just when when are we gonna get back to normal, Jade? When?
I
Answer me
don't know.
that.
I feel like although life has been stressful this month, it hasn't
Mm,
been as bad for me as September was, because September was the month where I got that really awful cold, and then as soon as I recovered from that, I concussed myself.
mm,
And it was just like cursed thing after cursed thing. I haven't
yeah.
injured myself or got sick this month, so
There's still one day left. Still
there is
time.
time.
So
I'll
hell,
fall down the stairs when we leave this or something, and
I
that'll
really
be
hope
me
not.
done.
I hope not. Or do it for the vlog. Do it for the vlog. So, hi everyone in the chat. Thanks for tuning in. It's lovely to see everyone again. I know last month was a bit different because we had Sophie Green on, so we didn't really get to go in depth with our thoughts or anything on Pocken and Stubbs. To be honest, I don't know how in depth I can really go with Go Squad because to me it was quite a it was over before I knew it. So it was
Mm,
like yeah, there were definitely things we can talk about, but it
yeah.
just I don't feel like it was deep enough for us to go and pull a lot out of it, if you know what I mean.
Yes, I do completely agree. It was a very short book. I enjoyed it
Mm,
whilst I read it, but
mhm.
to a certain extent, there isn't that much to discuss. Like, it was cute, there was an adventure,
Some yes,
there was
yeah,
some, there was a dragon at a point that
oh
baffled
yeah,
me.
yeah.
Like, where did that come from? Um, but yeah, we'll see where the conversation takes us, I guess.
That's very true. And I see some people, Cheryl hasn't finished Squad yet. We'll get into spoilers later. So do not worry. Hi everyone. Hi. And there's our beautiful moderator, Pris. She is here. Thank you for doing your job, Pris. And I
Thanks for
think
showing up.
for showing up. It's not often, but when it happens, it happens. So yeah, before we get into talking about Go Squad, shall we briefly discuss what we are reading next month for November? Is a book club, which oh yeah, I have it right here. It's this beautiful,
It's
beautiful book.
gorgeous book.
It
The
is right.
Uncommoners Book One, The Crooked Sixpence by Jennifer Bell,
Mhm.
illustrated by Carl James Mountford.
How many Carl James Mountford illustrated books have we done? For Middle Grade Monthly, we did Pocken and Stubbs. We're doing this. Wait, is that it?
I think that might be it.
That might be it. Yeah,
How
yeah.
many
Okay.
illustrated books by Carl James Mountford have I read?
Oh, God. You know what? I feel like you should do a video about Carl James Mountford and the books that you've read of his. You should. You genuinely should show
That's a
off his like
really good
illustration.
idea. Let me
Yes, that.
make a note of that in my video planning journal.
And I want you to upload it in November for Believeathon. I feel like that would be perfect because he only illustrates middle grade, right?
He's done a couple of not non-fiction but not fiction, like
Oh, oh,
coffee table book sorts of things. Do you know what I mean? Like, they're not
yeah,
story books.
yeah.
They're not
Oh,
fact books. Eh.
I need to check this out now because I'm intrigued. I am intrigued. Also, I think Cece read this recently and gave it 4.5 stars, and I think Cece's in the chat. So that's really good. I mean, I don't really know that much about it. Just that there's a feather scratch.
Mm.
No, they say a feather scratch an ominous message on their grandma's kitchen wall. Ooh. And then they are lost in the extraordinary world of Londonor.
That's how
where,
I it.
yeah, London. Where ordinary objects have amazing powers. So it seems, I mean, it's the first in a series. So
Mhm.
I feel like as soon as we finish this, we're going to end up wanting to like go on to the next two because I don't know if you've noticed this, but a lot of middle grade series are trilogies. Like they
Really?
only ever seem to, yeah, like the Perfect series, the Polar Bear Explorers Club series, Frost Heart series is going to be 3. I
Dubs.
Pocken and Stubbs, very good point. There just always seem to be trilogies.
Yeah.
So yeah, we start another trilogy, guys. We always start them, but we never finish them. We always have like the first in like one of our live shows, and then the rest of them.
There's so many. Oh, sorry. Hidden Reader has just commented. I want to read The Republic of Birds, illustrated by Carl James Mountford. Me too.
Ooh. Ooh, I think I've seen the cover of that one. I don't know what it's about, but I've seen the cover. Doesn't it have 2 different covers?
Gives me polar fantasy vibes.
Yeah. Oh, Polar Fun. Uh, it's not a Fourth Explorers. It's a new trilogy, isn't it?
Yes, it's the rather than the Polar Bear Explorers Club, they're going to the Ocean Squid Explorers Club.
Yeah, so it's like same world, different trilogy. Kind of. Yeah. So that'll be really good. I'm really excited for that. Actually, it could potentially be a book of the month for us in a few months' time, maybe. But we'll see. We'll see what happens here. And I did see what's the book? Oh yeah, what is December's book of the month? We haven't really decided just yet, but we will keep you updated, and we will tell you way before this one. We kind of lost track of time and totally forgot to mention a November's book of the month, but we'll discuss it as soon as this is like over with press, and we'll get back to you. But it will be December, so we don't want to like be too hefty with anything, and it maybe something festive or polar-y. I don't know. We'll see.
What do you say?
Yeah, polar. Jade's favorite color and not color, genre. Subgenre.
Polar, my favorite color.
Polar is a color? What? You learn so much in these live shows, don't we? Right. So yeah, Chris, yes.
Brilliant.
We fucked up.
Hey, you're live. Don't swear.
Oh crap, yeah. Sorry.
Don't swear. Oh crap.
Crap is like a British swear word. It's not like universal, I guess. Okay, so it's been that long now, I feel, since I've like done this. I've kind of lost.
You know what it is? I hosted the last 2. That's
okay.
what you've lost the touch, because
I've lost the touch, the Midas touch. Well, you can do it more often if you want. I don't.
No, please. I'll let you do all the heavy lifting this time.
Okay, that's fair enough. So yes, we will talk about Ghost Squad now, then I guess, because we talked about the next month's book. We can talk about this now, so we can talk about general thoughts, maybe. Right, I've forgotten, Jade. Do we talk about our Corpal rating first or at the end?
We tend to give our overall star rating first.
Okay.
And we'll go through Corpal, and then we give our specific number at the end.
It's because we also didn't do that in October with Sophie Green, so like now, we're going too far back.
I can't remember how to rate a book.
I don't know. I don't even know how to talk about a book anymore. It's strange. Okay, so yeah, we'll get there. Yeah, this is like, we'll get back into the routine now. So, Ghost Squad. General thoughts, Jade? Do you want to kick us off? What did you think of it? What did you rate it? And what did everybody in the chat rate it as well? I'll bring them up on the screen.
My rating overall was a 4-star. Go into specifics of where on that spectrum it fell, but I liked it. I found it very quick to get through, not only because of its tiny size, but also I just felt like the writing was very easy to fall into, flew through the plot. I felt like it progressed very quickly. The pacing was very well done, which, if anything, made it feel too short because it was almost too quick. But in a way, I have been in the mood for those quick, snappy reads. One, because I've been reading next to nothing, so those quick, let me fly through this is what I want right now. So, I mean, I maybe was generous with it in regards to the pacing felt really good for what I needed at that time.
Yeah.
However, I could see it from the other side being like a bit too quick, a bit too short. But I had fun whilst I was reading it. I thought it was really cute. It was heartwarming. The family and like the found family as well with her best friend, like it all just gave you the fuzzies, and the Coco but creepy was spot on, I think.
Yeah, no, I agree with that actually. And for me, Core Pile comes out at a 4-star for me, but I've given it 3 because, like, obviously, like the enjoyment stuff and like just like I was thinking about it overall, and I had just finished Hide and Seeker by Ortega Herman as well, like a couple of weeks back, which is like not a similar middle grade, but it's a middle grade horror, and honestly, like that was just like so brilliant. So now when I read a spooky middle grade, I'm kind of comparing it to that, especially since that was still fresh in my mind. So I think when I read it, I did enjoy it. I totally agree. It was like super quick. It was just what I needed at the time because I was feeling like I was getting a bit behind on my reading, and I just wasn't like taking a lot in from other books. You know, like sometimes I'm reading a young adult book or an adult book, and it's not coming in. But this one I found like super easy to like read and stuff, and like as you said, cute. Like that's the main thing about this book is that it's just so goddamn cute, and sometimes yeah, it's adorable, and sometimes sickeningly so. Like I found myself sometimes going, "Oh, that's just too much." I guess like sometimes like that, which is strange coming from me because you know me, I love me some like adorableness because like I am adorable. So like when I say it in a book, I'm like yeah. But no, I was like yeah, I kind of yeah. So I was like this is like my type of book, 100%. But it is just the length, I guess. That kind of, and there's other things as well, which we'll talk about. But that is mainly like where I'm coming from with it. To be honest, I can't fault the characters, which is what we'll probably talk about next. But first, other people's ratings. I want to say, Mindy gave it 5 stars. We have a 4-star because of a surprise dragon and Chunk. Chunk is probably a big chunk of my rating as well.
I love the fact that they've highlighted there the surprise dragon. Like that's a good way to market a book, I think. Like Ghost Squad, there's a surprise dragon.
That should have been on the cover. Yeah, 100%. 4 stars would have been 5 if the bet was in more. She was sassy. Love the bet. Oh my god, love the bet. 4 stars from Sabrina. 4 stars from Chris. It was a 3, but the cat gets an extra star. Can't fault you there. Actually, my rating was like 4-star the entire way through, and then like the last few chapters, kind of it dropped for me. Gave 4 stars. Really enjoyed it, but probably will be 3 by the end of this live. Sorry, I'm sure you'll be okay. 4 from CC. 3 stars from Pages and Things. Oh, Pris is asking how's Ship of Magic, Jade.
Really good.
Good.
I don't think that's the answer she was expecting.
No, Jay's thinking, God, it's a huge book. Like what you've done, like read a page.
I read like 200 pages of it today.
Wow, that's actually pretty impressive. I haven't read that much in one day, like in such a long time. Apart from maybe this, but you know, it's too quick. 4 stars from Cheryl, but might change after I finish the live. Naomi gave it 3. 4 from Barbara. 4.5 from Nicole. 4. Oh, Sharon, we love you, Sharon. So very high ratings. Nobody gave anything less than a 3. And to be fair, 3 is still like not a bad rating at all. It's a pretty good rating if you ask me. It's we've talked about it like loads of times.
We do this every time. 3 stars is not a bad rating. It's above half, therefore above average.
Exactly. And if it was in percentage wise, that is 60%, which is a fantastic.
Which is like a decent pass grade.
It is, yeah, right? Well, we should start doing that, eh? Like doing pass grades for the books that we read.
Could you imagine if we read one and give it a fail, though? Like, we don't rate in stars anymore. We'll give you a pass or a fail.
Yeah, oh my gosh. Oh, the backlash. Okay, so let's talk about characters first then, because we did get a lot of good comments about characters in the chat. So, I mean, we can start with the name. Mainly Big Bet and Chunk, which, you know, are the kind of like side characters, but kind of like they are quite important to the story. I mean, Chunk less so, but important
Hey,
for
no. Chunk was vital to the plot. He might not have seen it, but without Chunk, I'm pretty sure that surprise dragon would have done a lot more damage.
I mean, fair. He's important to how we felt about the book, I guess. Like important to what the characters did, I guess. Yeah. And the string trees and all of that adorableness about Chunk. Yeah, I say that. But Lucily and Sid are our protagonists, and I thought they were like really great protagonists. I think they definitely, especially since Lucily is from like a single dad home. And that's, you don't usually see that a lot.
You don't see that a lot.
No. So it's like usually the other way around, or there's like both parents are gone or something like that. So I already liked it from the beginning. Like I thought, you know what, I really like this dynamic. I like how Lucily had her priorities straight. Like she could see that her dad was in financial trouble and like her heart's always in the right place. And I love that about a protagonist. So I thought that was like exceptionally well done. And do we usually give our co-pilot rating for characters straight away?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, let's do that then. I gave it an 8. I gave characters an 8.
I also gave characters an 8.
Yay.
Yeah. And this, see, you'll get back into the swing of it now. We say what our numbers are and then we compare. If we match, it's a shocker.
Oh gosh, if we continue being the same on these ones, I'd be impressed. I think it's only ever happened once, maybe. Like where it's all been the same.
Yeah.
It might have been for Orion Lost, maybe.
It might have been, because I bloody loved that book.
Oh, we can never top that book now, unfortunately. But yeah, so sorry, as I was saying about like Lucily and like her dynamic with her dad, and just like she wasn't one of those, like I'm trying to compare her to the Jumbies, because she, like, her dad was also like, I can't remember the main character's name in the Jumbies, but the dynamic with her dad, I don't remember liking it as much as I did in Ghost Squad. I think the main character in the Jumbies wasn't as, not exactly relatable, but her actions, like Lucy's actions, even though they weren't the best actions because it led to, you know, like the spirits and the,
but they
you know,
weren't reckless
danger
or selfish in any way. Everything she did for the good of her family, and also discussed it with her family. Admittedly, not her living relatives, but it was all a family affair. Like, the family came first. She actually spoke about things with her family, whether it was just her dead cousins or whatever.
Yeah.
Sounds bizarre thing to say. Oh, she spoke about it with her dead cousins. But she did. But yeah, she had, as you say, priorities straight, and her actions weren't wild or reckless to the point of, as a reader, you being a bit like, oh.
Yeah.
Because you really did root for Lucily because it's all for the right reasons, and like you would like to think that if you were in her position, you would do something similar.
Yeah, 100%. And I love the Fireflies and like the family members, like the deceased family members being like a part of that. And I think that is part of the Dominican mythology or the folklore part of this, which I thought was brilliantly done in this as well, which is kind of why, like, this isn't like why, even though like it's a 3, it's like still like, it's one of the reasons why I loved it so much, is that I thought it did it really well, especially to make,
I came through so strongly,
especially through the characters as well, because I feel like, I mean, obviously, I believe this is probably own voices. I don't like Claribel Ortega. I think she might be Dominican, or oh yeah, she is. Oh yeah, because she writes middle grade and young adult fantasy, inspired by her Dominican heritage. Yeah, but what she did really well with it was that she made it so relevant to the character, and like it was part of. It wasn't just like, oh, it's like throwing it in there as like a kind of a plot device or like to further the story. It became part of the character.
Part of the character, yeah.
Yeah, which I loved. I mean, I've learned like quite a lot of stuff, like especially with just like a lot of the like mythology and like the heritage from Lucily. I kind of learned like a little bits here and there just through her mannerisms and like through her interactions with her family. I learned a lot about like her culture through her, which I thought was great for a middle grade as well, because you know it can be a teaching tool for a lot of people who aren't Dominican and who are kind of looking at it with outside eyes, like I was kind of thing. But as an adult, as a child, I think it would be fantastic for them to read that. Yeah,
completely agree. Yeah.
And Sid, you liked Sid?
I liked Sid. I like Sid's attitude and how convinced Sid was that she's a ghost hunter, she's a witch, she's magic. It's in her blood. Like, she's not taking no for an answer. I am a witch.
Yep.
I love that about her. She's so stubborn. Thought she had the answer to everything in the best sort of way, though. Not in a know-it-all sort of way, just in a, like, I'm trying my best here sort of way.
Yeah.
Attitude.
It was the best about
painted mason jars. Like, I think this is what a ghost catcher looks like.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. And definitely bounced off very well with Lucille. And just like, even like the characters were charismatic. It was, each of them had their own distinctive personality, as we've said. But I think it helps having, you know, Lucille and Sid who work well together, but then we have the Bet, who is Sid's grandmother, and like what I liked about this was that, even because sometimes they have that wise old woman who knows everything, that's a kind of like trope, but I mean, fair enough, Babette does know a lot, and she is like somebody who they look up to, but she is sassy, she does have the answers, but like she does it in such a way that's so entertaining, and I didn't mind that she could give them answers. I enjoyed her so much.
She's the wise old woman trope, but the wise old woman that also gives them leather biker jackets. So we'll take it.
Definitely. I'd love one of those. And I like that. I like that a lot. And like, obviously with her cats and things, it's like, I feel like
all of the cats were named after Luna's characters.
Yeah, I love that so much. Although we do need to talk about the media references a little bit later on, pop culture references a bit later on, because I was a bit hit and miss with them. However, I did like the cat names and, of course, Chunk and all of that. I love that. I love that so much. It definitely gave them all their little personalities as well. So I enjoyed that. I enjoyed that a lot. Just there, some viewer comments. I say the bet as Whoopi Goldberg. Yes. Yes, I say that now as well. Now you mention it, I totally say that.
I would watch that.
Well, I think Dem said as well, the movie rights were bought recently for Ghost Squad 2, so maybe Whoopi Goldberg can star in it. That would be amazing. I think this would transfer so well onto the screen.
Oh, absolutely. I also kind of imagine it, if it were to be on screen, being kind of Scooby-Doo-ish, like in its animation style. If it was animated or live action, I don't know. I see it as a Scooby-Doo style thing.
Yeah, I would say that as well. And I know this was kind of marketed as Coco meets Stranger Things, but I say it was more like Coco meets Scooby-Doo kind of thing. Like, that's how I would... that's how I would
actually. Big time spoiler for what I was about to say here.
Ooh.
We haven't necessarily spoiled anything yet, so I don't know if anyone here still hasn't finished it, so I wasn't gonna say what I was just saying.
Okay, well, we can talk about spoilers now, I guess, and then, especially since the next one is...
the shout out that we are about to spoil it then, so if you haven't read it, scoot your boot.
Bye, but please come back soon. Come back to the next one.
But what I was going to say with the Scooby-Doo and how it does compare to Scooby-Doo with the literal unmasking of the villain at the end, and how it was that, I can't remember the woman's name, but her like in the mayor's body. Yes. Oh my god. Was very Scooby-Doo in the who are you really?
Yes. Oh my gosh. Yes. The man behind the mask. Yeah. Oh my gosh. I can't remember who the name is now, but I did like that. God damn it. If somebody remembers, do put it in the chat, please.
It was like Eliza something, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Was it Eliza?
Could have been. Oh, wait, hang on. Yeah, Eliza. I just saw Eliza there.
Eliza Bratz.
Yeah, Eliza. Yeah. No. That's how we're going to start recommending it now. It's going to be Coco meets Scooby-Doo.
Yes. It's definitely not as creepy as Stranger Things. So.
Oh, definitely not. No, 100% not. I can see it, kind of, but not 100%. Corin was the main character in the Jumbies, that's right.
Oh, yeah.
This was more family. The Jumbies was more time to grow up, stand on your own. And what I actually, a good point in this as well that I really love about it is it was also kind of like found family in a way as well, because there was a quote I picked out that was like, I love the quote so much. Maybe family is more than who you're related to. It's also the people you find and love along the way. So it's like, it definitely had that kind of found family, friends are your family kind of feel to it as well, which I love. So that's another reason why I rate the characters quite highly. But yeah, oh yeah,
characters is where a lot of that cuteness comes from as well, because all of the characters are so heartwarming and they do all do the right things for the right reasons, and it's just lovely.
Yeah. It is lovely. And it's such a lovely book. Own Vices, Dominican folklore. Yes, Own Vices. Yes. So people did love the folklore as well. Oh, I just saw a bigger comment there. Might have been quite informative. The Dominican aspects made me like the book even more, because it definitely felt like the characters were written by someone who knew about the culture and background, which makes sense. I don't think I would like this as much, or like any book that tries too hard to put in because this felt like it came from the heart. A lot of this, I felt like it came from the heart.
It's very organic. Like, it wouldn't have been the same story without it, and wouldn't have been the same characters without it. It just belonged.
It did, yeah, which I love. Babette was a badass witch. Oh, sorry, I said the A word. My bad. The relationships were well structured and felt founded in time, not just made for the plot. True, I feel like a lot of books, they kind of have a big plot and the characters just like kind of are plopped into it. This one felt like the plot came out of the characters, which I think, yeah, that's how I would describe it. I like this. I love that Sid and Lucy didn't fight over useless SHIT, like a lot of friends do quite often in middle grade books. Oh my gosh, that is so correct.
So true. They just had a really nice friendship. And this is something I feel like I criticize in a lot of middle grade books, is when the kids act like kids and fight over pointless stuff, and I say things like, oh, I think I said it about the Jumbies. Are they even actually friends? I don't understand. Is this how kids are supposed to behave? I don't get it. They didn't do that. They just loved each other.
Yeah, and the Jumbies started off with them being bullied by the other two characters, so it's kind of like that was kind of like harder to like the friendship in that one as much as like in this one. Pris, oh yes, the HP references eye roll. Honestly, I hate them in any book, to be honest. Yeah. Pris is just so Sister Act 1 and 2, and yes, it would be. I love Sister Act 1 and 2.
Sister Act.
Oh, so much. Oh yeah, everyone said like Eliza Briggs. Yeah, so that's correct. I love that message that Sid was who she thought about when she thought about home.
Adorable when it was, and they were like, "Oh, why didn't you think of your mom?" She's like, "But your family, you are home." Oh, break my little heart, you adorable beans.
I love that. I love that so much. Yeah. Oh, yes. I love found family. Like Jade and Gav are my family as well. You're our family too. I just had a block a comment there. Anyway, so
I was waiting for someone to do something.
Yeah, I was scrolling too high up. I did not see that at all. Anyway, so next we have atmosphere. If we, sorry, I just had something in my ear there. Atmosphere. What did you rate atmosphere?
I gave it an 8.
Oh, I gave it a 7. I know.
I gave it a 7. Graveyards.
I know. And I
missed men. Come on, Gavin. Come on.
I know, and I was so tempted to give this a higher rating. However, this is where I start to get just a little bit negative and a little bit nitpicky. So, as I mentioned about the length of the book, what kind of suffered for me was that there wasn't enough detail in a lot of the things like to do with, the atmospheric parts of it. So, for example, because like I know like I never come with examples, but for example, a lot of things, and this will go back to like the pop culture references as well, but like a lot of things were described by using something else to describe it. So, for example, close to the end, there was a moment where something was described as being like from Beetlejuice. And while I like that image, I don't like this is where I kind of like really like you can boo me, it's fine. But like when authors use like another pop culture thing to describe something,
it's lazy.
It's not. Yeah, that's what I think. I think it's a bit lazy because then now I'm starting to think about Beetlejuice, and then but that's like somebody else's creation. That's like in a totally different world and look that somebody else has created to give you this, like Beetlejuice is like a great film. I love Beetlejuice, but as soon as like things are described as something else, like there was another moment that was like, oh, this reminded me of Super Mario, and now then I started to think of Super Mario and stuff. Like when it deflects from the actual book and like what the book is trying to portray, that's when it starts to lose me a bit. And it does do it like a few times, and I was going to let like one or two slide, but I kind of it got to a point, especially after all of the references, where I kind of just had a little bit of enough by the end, especially since I was a little dissatisfied by the end. So that's why I gave it a 3. But it's why I also rated Atmosphere just a little bit lower, because I didn't appreciate things being likened to something else. I wanted to feel it come from this text, which I know is very nitpicky, but I did get a lot of the atmosphere mainly at the start towards the middle, but then because of the short length of this as well, I didn't think anything was given enough time and attention to really make me feel immersed in what I was reading, if you know what I mean. So that's why I didn't give it a great rating. I mean, 7's great for Atmosphere.
7 is still a really good rating. There's nothing but 7, and I get where you're coming from. Like whilst reading it, I know I read these phrases. You saying them has reminded me of them. Like I know I definitely saw them. I just didn't think of them like that. But now you've said it in that light. Like yeah, it is a little bit lazy, and it is taking from someone else's work to build your atmosphere, especially with that Beetlejuice part. I can imagine that was probably something about the misty graveyard. Probably. Like build that atmosphere yourself. But at the same time, I think a lot of the atmosphere for me came from the feeling and the emotion, like the emotional atmosphere, rather than the physical atmosphere, which I think is why I rated it slightly higher, because it was the family atmosphere, and I loved the imagery of the tree with all the fireflies in their jars in the tree. Like that just felt so warm, and it was that sort of atmosphere that came through for me a lot, I think, and that kind of bumped it up, as well as creepy ghost dudes and surprise dragons and the surprise dragon is now my favorite thing.
You know what, I didn't actually think about the other aspects of Atmosphere. I was just kind of, because I say this as like a spooky book, so I wasn't really thinking about the whole like family side of it and like the tree and kind of how the heritage of everything like was built into the story. I didn't really think about that beforehand. Actually, it will probably be like maybe a 7.5 now for Atmosphere. I won't change it because I think my overall rating for it is correct. I feel like it's correct, but like now you mentioned
you change your rating. I'm just here to
just open my eyes. Yeah, exactly.
The family atmosphere and the creepy graveyard atmosphere were both present, and I think both were quite strong. Yes, as you've now pointed out, some of the lazy references to other atmospheres, but I just want to point out what Pris has just said. It wasn't creepy spooky. It was adorable spooky, or as people would call that, spoopy.
Spoopy. The thing is, for me, I haven't read a lot of spoopy books, so I don't really have anything to compare it to in that front. So I don't know if like what makes a great spoopy book, but I feel like just from this one alone, I did really enjoy the spoopiness of it. So I'm so new to that. I don't really know how to like thing it. And also Lindsay Curry. Hi, Lindsay, author of Squish Scratch, which is a fantastic book to read during Halloween. This was more of a warm, spooky book. I totally agree with that. It's like, yeah, so I guess that's kind of like the definition of spooky. It's like spooky, but it makes you warm, kind of thing.
Spoopy.
Yeah, spoopy. So okay, I just want to get to like some of the comments because the weather made it atmospheric. I mean, it's true.
The storm that was brewing, and I did definitely feel the atmosphere from the storm brewing when it struck down her grandma. Was it her grandma?
Yes. Yes, I think it was, yes.
The initial when she was in the graveyard, they were doing the ghost tour. It was supposed to be spooky. And the atmosphere there, the like build up of tension because she was trying so hard to do well by her dad, and then this thing just was uncontrollable for her. Like that build up of the tension there, I thought was very well done.
Yeah, that was fantastic. 8 for atmosphere from 10. So like it's like when all high fantasy books are compared to Game of Thrones. Yeah, kind of like a bit lazy. I do want to get to like because there have been a few comments about pop culture, and I know I brought that up, but like I kind of want to get into the next part for writing for that.
Can I just highlight Dem's comment about I love the audio narration, so that might have made my atmosphere rating higher. Because I agree with that as well, because I did audiobook it. I don't know if you did as well, Gav.
I couldn't because script, it sounds so staticky, and I don't know why it was doing that. It was, so I had to, I mean, I didn't mind reading it physically, but
I do think the audiobook added to the atmosphere because, of course, of the I don't know who the narrator was, but like the accents just brought it all to life, really. So I think that definitely heightened it.
Yeah, okay. I would definitely reread this, like maybe next Halloween or something. I think it's like a really good, it has reread value. So I would definitely reread it, maybe with the audiobook, and it might help with like the atmosphere for me, maybe. I do think I'm just being like really nitpicky. Just because I've read like some fantastic middle grade like spooky books this year. So it's just like I'm comparing them a lot to each other. But I will get to all these references, and especially like about the setting as well, because fireflies and just the Halloweeny vibes really made it. Yeah, I honestly wish this was like 100 pages longer, so we could have spent more time with like all of the like Halloweeny stuff. And I love like Halloween imagery. We just don't get like enough of it because it's just So should we? Right, we'll go to writing. Writing, yeah. I gave it a 7, which is fantastic.
I gave it a 7.
Oh, okay. Why did you give it a 7?
As I said earlier, it was quick, which is what I wanted at the time. But looking at it from a critical core pile point of view, in places it was perhaps too quick and could have done with being a bit more fleshed out. Some things did seem to happen very snappy. So perhaps could have done with a bit more build there, but also Harry Potter references.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. So I will highlight some of these references comments now. CC HP references made me cringe. It's got because there was a question about when this was set, and they thought it was maybe the 80s, but with all the Harry Potter references, it's definitely current. I only remember the HP references because they bothered me most. Now, I'm not like, I don't think like anything to do with like J.K. Rowling or anything for this. Like, obviously, like that's not like the intent of like putting HP references and things. It was just like, I do hate Harry Potter references. Like, I've hated them for the past 2 years, ever since What If It's Us by Becky Albertalli and Adam Silvera. Ever since then, I've just been like totally and utterly kind of, because when somebody says they're a Hufflepuff, which is what happens in here, it's kind of, again, a little bit lazy writing because it's building up this personality around what people perceive as Hufflepuffs. So it's like, no, I don't mind. Like, honestly, I genuinely do not mind pop culture references every now and then. But as I said, if it's going to be like, if it's going to take away from the story and it's going to be used as the story, such as the Beetlejuice, like, oh, this look like Beetlejuice, you know, like things like that, that's when I'm like, okay, I don't like that. So as Serena said, for me personally, pop culture references take me out of the story if it's anything other than a contemporary.
That's sort of what I was just going to say. I think there's a risk with pop culture references that you alienate part of your readership. For example, Harry Potter references. The general assumption pre J.K. Rowling being a twat was that everyone loves Harry Potter. Everyone knows Harry Potter. Everyone loves Harry Potter. That's quite simply not true. So with lazy writing, comparing something to Harry Potter, as someone who's not read Harry Potter, does not care to, does not like the thing, pre J.K. Rowling being a twat, like that for me alienates me as a reader because I what?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, and it's kind of like, especially when the reference is something, I mean, yeah, Harry Potter is universal, and as you said, not everybody loves it. If there's like a reference to something that maybe people might not understand, like with this being a middle grade, maybe a lot of people haven't seen Beetlejuice, or like a bit of an old
Beetlejuice.
Yeah, okay, so there we go. Like, not everybody's going to say it, so it does seem like sometimes a pop culture reference is. It can help. It can help, especially if they're big fans of the story and stuff. But as you said, it can alienate people as well. So I feel like, yeah, that's not great. Oh, but this is interesting. From an author standpoint, when writing spooky books, we get a lot of pressure from editors to cut, keep it concise so that our pacing isn't wonky. To be fair, Jade, as you've said before at the start, I think you said the pacing was great because it is like quite a lot of stuff ends up happening, and it's like quite a short and quick thing. That's really interesting. And I can totally see why, I can totally see maybe there has been a lot cut out from this, and maybe
it lines up very well with what we were discussing with Sophie Green last week in terms of the book being spooky and how she wanted it to be spookier.
Yeah.
She had to cut so much out of it, and if Lindsay's saying the same thing, clearly that must be a thing for spooky middle grades. They don't want him to be too spooky.
Yeah, which we wouldn't mind because we're adults and we love ourselves some spooky stuff. So we love spooky middle grades. Yeah, it's a bit different. Yeah.
When I think of a 7-year-old, it scares me to think that my sister is that age now, and she just doesn't read anymore, which is very disappointing. But I think this would be the correct level of spooky to not give her nightmares.
Yeah.
The right level of spooky for it to be a Halloween-y atmospheric book for her and not keep her up all night terrified. Whereas, take Plotkin and Stubbs, for example, that would absolutely scare the heebie-jeebies out of her.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. Same with Hide and Seeker, actually, by J.K. Herman. I feel like that is quite a scary ride.
I read that, so I can't.
Yeah, you need to.
I could, yeah.
You just going a little bit back to the reference there, as you were Chris said, don't say you're a Hufflepuff, just show us through deeds and words and building up the characters. And then the Goonie references make me happy though. So this is two different things. So just saying you're a Hufflepuff and not following through on it, by the deeds or by their personality, then that's not great. The Goonies references to the cats did feel like they had those personalities. So Chunk did seem like Chunk from the Goonies, and that's why I didn't mind the Goonies references that much, because they were kind of named for a reason. They had a purpose, kind of thing. It kind of informed their personalities, and it helped by having Chunk be like a Chunk kind of thing. You know what I mean? Whereas everything else, it just if it's not gonna be important to the story or the plot, then I don't see the need for the reference. I mean, sometimes it can be funny, if there's a reference to something that's during dialogue or something, it can be funny. Or it can just show maybe somebody's favorite movie or TV show or book or something. It's fine. But I just don't like them as descriptors. I just hate pop culture like that.
Comment from Full of Rubber Bands, brilliant username. Beetlejuice is a UK 15 rated Tim Burton film from 1988. Maybe a bit of a stretch for a 2020 middle grade reader to have that context.
Yeah.
That's very true. I hadn't thought of it from that perspective either.
Yeah, and I didn't even realize Beetlejuice was a 15. But to be fair, I can kind of see why. But yeah, I feel like if you're going to do pop culture references, it has to be appropriate for the age group, I guess. Yeah. I really want to read this one. Ghouls of Hellfire is also a very spooky book for middle grade. Yeah. Small Spaces and Dead Voices. Love those.
I really need to read Small Spaces.
That's so good. So yeah. There was a Beetlejuice cartoon series. I remember that now, but I never watched it. I don't think. Also this one. Beetlejuice has sexual assault in it. So yeah, I agree. It's not appropriate. Fair. Interesting. Anyway, we've talked a lot about pop culture references and writing. So I guess that goes kind of nicely into plot, which I gave a 7.
Me too.
Now, the main reason why I gave it a 7 was just because of it didn't. I felt like there was quite a lot of build up and quite a lot of excitement to do with like what happened, like with Lucy and Sid unleashing, all hell breaking loose kind of thing. And I really enjoyed that. I thought like it's like it kind of ups the ante and gives it some stakes and things, especially with the family being in danger. But then I just like it kind of for me it as the pace got quicker and better as it like went on, which I enjoyed the pacing. The plot kind of suffered in regards to that because after like just mainly because of the way it kind of wrapped up for me. Like the wrap up was rather unsatisfactory to me. So I felt like that didn't help the plot because it just felt like the plot didn't have a true ending kind of thing, if you know what I mean. Which I don't think I've explained very well, but I kind of know what I think in my head.
No, I get where you're coming from. I'm now thinking, like, I read this towards the beginning of the month. And as I've already said, my reading has not been great lately. It was quick-paced and I flew through it. Now wondering if that wasn't such a great thing, because I can't remember how it ended.
Literally, like, let me tell you, it literally ended with Babette. Okay, so there's the big scary monster, right?
Yeah.
And Babette, she says a couple of lines of rhyme, and then it goes to Lucy and Sid, and they're like, okay, we have to feel this. We have to feel the light. We have to make sure that we can beat this monster and we can do it together. And then they say a couple of lines of rhyme, and then there's this big flash, and then one it goes into a time jump and it's already over before you actually know what's happened. So I'm explaining it to you now. That's literally what happened. There wasn't anything that really happened.
Maybe that's why I think I don't remember it, because I do remember everything you've just said. So it's not that I don't remember it, it's that it didn't happen.
There wasn't really a battle kind of thing. There was just speech, like dialogue, and then light. Literally, it's on page 226 to 227. It's like the goal, like they say like the rhyme and stuff, and then there's the massive gateway that forms in the sky, and then the spirits all get flown into the void. All of them, all of their problems have just disappeared into the void, leaving nothing but silence. And then it goes to 2 days later in the like chapter 23, and everything's fine. Everything is absolutely fine. They're local heroes. They saved Saint Augustine, and all they really did was like saline.
That was because of Babette's magic, wasn't it? Like Babette twisted the story so that people wouldn't get suspicious of witches.
Yeah, but I was because when I read reviews of this beforehand, it said there were like lots of like little battles and things, and I was like, oh, that's going to be really interesting. The battles were really just them speaking and light
away from ghosts, like the thug in the alley that her boxer cousin tried to take on, and they just ran away.
Yeah, and it just didn't feel like that for me, not that satisfactory, and that's when I felt like the plot kind of lost me a bit because it seemed too anticlimactic, and it didn't feel like everything that was building towards that like justified how quick we just flew through that final battle. And I wouldn't even call it a battle. It was just them standing around and speaking rhymes.
Again, this takes it back to the fact that it's spoopy. It's cute.
I know.
And I don't think this book intended to be spooky. I think it's a cute Halloween story. It's a cute Halloween story. Not necessarily, I mean, yes, there are ghosts, but not a spooky story. It's cute. And the way they won was with love and happiness and cuteness. And
that's why I said sickly at the start. I think that's probably why I said a bit sickly.
I get that it's a bit icky, like icky cute.
Mm-hmm.
But then I think of my 7-year-old sister and think, like, icky cute, this is just the right level of spoopy for that audience, I think.
Well, I mean, now you've mentioned that, actually, I would say the Amelia Fang series is quite spoopy. I just thought of it there because, like, I'm thinking of like the whole like Nocturnia and there's like 7 books in that series. I absolutely love the Amelia Fang books. But like even in the Amelia Fang books, which are like aimed for like 5 to 8 readers, like, you know, like that's quite a low age range. Even for them, like, I mean, obviously you haven't read them, so you just kind of, you have to trust me. But like there's like each book has like this, especially the last book, there's just like, there's like still quite a lot of action, even though they are spoopy and like so adorable. I mean, we have a squishy talking pumpkin and, you know, things like that. And like we have like a fairy vampire. That's exactly, that's spoopy. And I honestly, now you've mentioned it, that's kind of what I'm bringing it back to. It's like I'm kind of comparing this now to Amelia Fang, but Amelia Fang is for younger readers. This one I felt was aimed for like, well, just kind of with the references at least anyway. And the way this is kind of marketed, this is marketed as being like middle grade. And a lot of people said, oh, I would say this is like 12 plus kind of for like some of the reviews, which I wouldn't agree with.
Call this a 7 to 10.
Yeah, I would agree with that. But then we get to the end and it's just over. And it's just like, I didn't get a chance to be satisfied with how this turned out.
Saved the day.
Love saved the day. There's no place like love. Well, I mean, I think
it's
again,
bizarre of me to be the one being cute, being
right?
Like, love saved them. It's because they're tiny, adorable kids. Weird for me to say kids are adorable. This book did things to me.
Oh my god!
Now I'm a different person.
I feel like now this deserves a 5-star just for that alone. Oh my god! I've been trying for years.
Kids are adorable.
I don't mean to be. I hate being negative. And I wouldn't even say it was too negative. I still gave it a good rating and stuff. But yeah, just for me, like I'm comparing it too much to other stuff. I think I need to stop being a bit of a bore. Yeah. What did? Pris, I still wanted to know why the mum left. This will go nicely into intrigue, which is next, which I gave a 7. I gave intrigue a 7. What did you give it? Same.
7.
And I feel like a lot of that was I wanted to know what happened to the mum. Like, why did she leave? And to be fair, that didn't have to be answered. It's just something that's kind of like it kind of informs a lot of like why Lucy feels a little bit more grown up and she's a bit more compassionate and things like that. It's because of her mum leaving them and abandoning her. So I guess it didn't need to be, you know, thinking, but that's again why I'm a little bit dissatisfied by the ending, is that it just all wrapped up too nice and quickly, and things like that just weren't explained.
That the mum not being there and the plot not being to find her mum, and the person that feels like home not being her mysterious mum, but being a friend who's been there for her, and her single dad who's done everything he can to raise her to the best of his ability being enough and not chasing after this dream of a mother. Because I think that will speak volumes to kids from single parents. Like, you're not gonna get the answers always to what happened with your parents if they're not around. And I think, in a way, the fact that a lot of these kids' books do chase after these mysterious parents and you get answers for the end. Like, that can probably be quite devastating for a lot of kids that aren't going to get answers about their single parent situations and stuff. Like, I love the fact that she realized at the end that, yeah, her mum's not there and yeah, it sucks, but she's got people that love her around her, and that is enough.
Has Jake just bought something from Amazon?
Maybe.
I didn't think of it in that way, and I find that really interesting, actually, because yeah, as you said, like a lot of middle grade books do rely on a missing parent, or like the grown-ups are out of the way. And what I love about this is that there was a conversation between the children and the adults, and it included all of them, and they weren't looked down upon. They were actually like part of the story and part of the action and things, and adults weren't trying to stop them, which I like. That it wasn't adhering to that middle grade trope, which is great. And I didn't really think about the whole, it could be quite upsetting for somebody to read this who doesn't have maybe their mum or their dad, and may never find their mum or their dad. And like, obviously it's like quite hopeful, and it's such a nice, well, it's a hopeful message in middle grade, when there's a parent missing, and they're home again by the end, or like they get answers about them by the end. So I guess, yeah, there's like that way of looking at it as well. Interesting.
I mean, I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with middle grades finding the parents. Like, that's great too. I just think that it makes a nice change in that by the end of it, she is satisfied with her family and she loves them and she knows that they love her, and that is enough.
Yeah, that's true. Great, Jade. Absolutely, we need icky cute with this year. I mean, fair. It's a perfect book to read in 2020. So just catching up with comments here. This book made me like a cat. It deserves an award for that alone. Oh, I guess you're not a cat person, Charlotte.
Made me like children.
Yeah. Oh my God, the magic and power of this book. Wow. It keeps jumping. Sorry. The friendship was just so healthy, makes a nice change. I love that once he knew, dad just stood up behind her, supporting her. Yeah. The dad was such a good supportive parent. Yeah, I love that. Love the physical displays of affection between the girls, by the way. We rarely say that. Yeah, very girl power.
Such a healthy friendship. It was beautiful.
Yeah, they weren't tearing each other down or anything like that. It was just really, it was lovely. I agree with Jay, because my stepson's mother left him when he was a baby, and that's something he will never know why, and the fact that he can grow up knowing that he will still be loved is important. That's a beautiful, beautiful message that I'm definitely going to be looking at this book with now. So, logic. We'll move on to logic then. I gave it a 6.
I'm questioning myself because I gave logic an 8.
Okay. I guess within this world, maybe that is because when we look at logic, we think, okay, does it adhere to the rules of the world? And I feel like this does. I did like what we saw of the world. Again, I would have loved 50 to 100 more pages so I could see more of that world building. I thought it was fabulous. I would have
loved 50 to 100 pages of the history of the witches and the problems that were in these towns, and how Babette is like the last living one of them.
Yeah.
No, that backstory.
Oh my gosh, yeah. We kind of need like a sequel almost, or a prequel with Babette. That would be fantastic. But yeah, I love the idea of like the witches and like Babette's power and all of that. I do. There's just there is intrigue there. Again, go back to the intrigue. But again, like I just wasn't given enough of it so that I could really sink my teeth into it and just like really feel like I'd gotten something from it. But I mean, as we said with the logic, why did I give it a 6? So I mean, again, it's still a great rating. 6 is a great rating for logic, especially for a book this short. I guess because a lot of stuff wasn't explained, or like we didn't get too much of a look into a lot of the stuff, that kind of meant, I don't know, I just feel like there's like a lot of blank space that I'm missing from this.
The logic was that there were no instances in this book where I read a sentence and thought,
it took you out. Yeah, I did. That was kind of that was Beetlejuice. Okay. It's kind of like, yeah, I guess again with pop culture references, it kind of does, that takes me out of it. But nothing to do with logic for that though, because you know it's the present day. They're all gonna make those observations. Okay, this one.
That one, yeah.
The dragon in the middle of Ghost Hunting threw me.
I think the surprise dragon is the reason it got an 8 and not like a 9 or a 10. I loved the surprise dragon for like atmosphere and plot's sake, but for logic's sake,
yeah,
maybe the dragon was a bit of a like, sort of like.
Yeah, I can see that.
But then I ended up having so much fun because there was a surprise dragon that I didn't care.
But wasn't the surprise dragon just like a shape-shifting spirit or something? Like, is that why? Again, like I can't particularly remember why it happened. But again, yeah, it's still a surprise dragon. It still threw us a bit. Yeah. But other than that,
oh yeah, it was a monster.
Yeah, there were a few monsters in this though, and again, like each one of them was kind of defeated a little bit too easily. So I just felt, yeah, again, like I just needed more action, more logic to their action in a way that, oh no, that's not right. I needed for the logic to go up, for it to be harder for them. I guess I felt like everything was just too easy. And that might also be why I gave logic a 6, because I just felt like everything happened too easy.
Fair.
I just expected it to be a bit harder for them.
Sabrina's comment. The dragon was a bunch of ghosts in a trench coat. I like that.
That's what we expect in a spoopy book now. Spoopy. Okay, so the last one, Enjoyment, which I gave a 7.
I've lost my mouse. Hold on. There it is.
No.
I also gave it a 7.
Yay. It's great. I honestly did enjoy myself reading this. I think it's such a... I did really enjoy it. I enjoyed it so much. Obviously, I always not always, but you know, I nitpick sometimes, and sometimes that can affect a rating largely. And then it kind of, as much as I enjoyed it, maybe I didn't enjoy it as much as something else. Or this is not my least favorite middle grade monthly book by a long shot.
Oh, for sure. We read The Girl Who Stole an Elephant. Yeah.
So yeah, we progressed. Like seriously, I feel like we have discovered some absolute gems during the months, and I feel like this is a gem. Like that's how I would describe it. Actually, like it's not one that I've rated very highly, but it's one I would still recommend. It's one that I think people would enjoy.
One I will remember, despite it not being an outstanding. Like we've covered the numbers now, so I feel pretty safe in my saying its end rating was 7.43, which means that if any of my numbers were 1 lower, it would have gone into 3. So it's just on the brink of that 4-star rating. So despite it wasn't amazing, it's definitely one that's memorable.
Yeah.
Because I feel like although you were comparing it to a lot of things, you were comparing it in a negative light. I don't think I've read anything quite like this. It's unique in its spoopiness.
Yeah.
It made me like children, Gavin.
I'm already giving it... I'm uplifting it to a 4-star now, seriously. Like, I just can't believe that. That is magic. That is witchcraft.
Considering how many children's books I read, this is the one that actually makes me like children. Wow.
My overall rating was a 7, like on the dot, 7.00, which is still not like my lowest. It's like, or anything like that, but it's still great. 7 out of 10. 7.86 for CC. So yeah.
Oh, Chris has just said Murder Most Unladylike takes the cake. I'd forgotten about that one. I've already erased it from my memory.
Yeah, you guys.
Just
Uh,
we don't need to see.
Sabrina didn't get to see it. Yeah, this is probably why you like the kids, because they were written as pleasant, normal kids from supportive families.
Beautiful.
Beautiful message. Beautiful message. And yes, it's correct. So yeah, that's the overall rating. That's. Do you have anything else you want to say about Ghost Squad?
Not particularly. I'm surprised we managed the conversation going this long, to be honest, because the overall thought is it's just cute. There's nothing exceptional about it to really note. It's just cute.
So cute. Yeah. It's cute, spoopy, and one we would recommend. So,
yeah.
Yes. Oh, baking. Did somebody say baking? If you enjoyed this, I definitely recommend the Love Sugar Magic series. Ooh, it has that sounds good. I've never heard of it before. Sisters, friendship, spirits, and baking. Oof, that's good. Yeah. I don't think I have anything else to say, just that it's one I would recommend every year for like a spooky read during Halloween. There we go.
One that I think next Halloween I'm going to give to my sister.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah. Yeah, I try and give it to my niece.
Now 7, and I say that this wouldn't give her nightmares, but give her a year just to make sure.
Yeah. Well, I like it. Oh, I'm sure she's not that much of a wuss. She's not. Well, I can't wait to hear her feedback then. So yes, that'll be Ghost Squad. Next month again, it is The Crooked Sixpence by Jennifer Bell.
Excited about this one.
Same, I think, especially with it being like a bigger size, like that's one thing I'm excited about. But also, just we love Wonderscape by Jennifer Bell. We know she can write well, and this is her debut, I think. So it'll be interesting to read that kind of thing.
I'm excited about it for many reasons. 1, Jennifer Bell, we know we like her writing. 2, Carl James Mountford, we know that we like anything that he's illustrated. But 3, something about this just gives me like classic middle grade vibe. Just like before reading it, I'm comparing this to the Perfect Trilogy. I'm comparing this to Polar Bear Explorers. I'm comparing this to A Pinch of Magic. I'm comparing this to all of those like staples that we know and love, just from the like vibe that I get. I'm excited.
Yeah, I totally agree with that actually. Oh, and I genuinely can't wait. Like, I really feel like we'll have so much to discuss next month for this one. Are we doing it on your channel or mine? I can't remember.
We didn't decide. We can go either.
Yeah, we can go either or. It's all good. But we let everybody know on the Twitter and stuff. And Pris has left links for Amazon and Waterstones and Book Depository in the description. I don't think this is on Scribd. I haven't seen it on Scribd. So, also, will Holopox be the December pick? We would love to pick it, but it's the 3rd book in a series, so that might alienate a lot of people.
And around the festive season, making you read a whole trilogy.
Yeah, we wouldn't do that to you. Although Holopox is fantastic, and I love the Nevermore series so much.
Now we started calling it the Never Match series.
Never Match.
Have you seen my editions? None of them.
I love that. Oh, you're so funny, Jade.
Thanks. It's like the joke I made on our first ever show.
I love that. Sometimes I go back and watch that clip. So I guess we'll wrap this up now. If anybody's doing Believe-a-thon, I can't wait to do that with you all. It's going to be so good this year. But also put your mental health first. Don't push yourself. Do it because you want to do it. Don't force yourself. You get a free pass from me if you don't want to read anything, or if you just want to read one book, do it. Just read one book if you want.
You've just said that TBR Pursuit is about to go up after this, and I pretty much say exactly that in that video. Like, I really want to go OTT, but how life's been recently.
Exactly. I don't even know if I'm going to complete it.
Ourselves.
Yeah, exactly. And it's supposed to be fun, and it's supposed to be like a palate cleanser. It's supposed to like be relaxing and magical. If it's going to not be that, then don't force yourself. So that applies to everyone. Fingers crossed for a Christmassy book in December. We'll see what we can pick.
You have to read Christmassy books all throughout October, though, Gav.
Oh God, yeah. I've read a couple. There's one I still need to read, but to be fair, I found actually the two I've read have been fantastic, to be fair. They've been really good.
Good.
Who knows, maybe one of them could be it. I don't know. Anyway, we will let everybody go. Thank you everyone so much for tuning in. Can't wait to see you in the next Middle Grade Monthly. And yeah, that's it from us. Bye guys.
Thank you for being here. Farewell.
Thank you. Bye. So long.